Chris, people are used to epilogues, right? We do a short episode, we do a little story at the end or something like that. How about a prologue? Let's do us a little prologue.
I like the idea of that. Switch things up a little bit. There's a lot of changing going on in this episode, so why not?
There is. Well, we'll get to all the changes and whatnot, but we have very important business to conduct here, and that is talking about who won the giveaway. Chris, the world needs to know.
It's finally time to announce it. But before I announce who the actual winner is, I just kind of want to thank everybody. One, it blows my mind how many people have who participated in the giveaway, who like the Haulin Assets podcast, who shared it, who was willing to just kind of help another truck driver. And that's really exactly why we started this podcast in the first place, is to help other people. So entries from all over the country. Appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the community. It's awesome. So without any further ado, the winner for the contest is Brian Ward out of Texas. So Brian, you've officially won the episode 200 giveaway. So you get all those prizes that I showed in the social media post, plus that $250 gift card. I know it's not going to pay off the mortgage. We're not that cool yet, but at least maybe you can have a really nice dinner with somebody you love, or do something fun. If you're listening to this, just keep your eye open on your messages, because we'll be reaching out to coordinate getting everything to you. Again, thank you. If you didn't win this time, it's not going to be the last giveaway that we do. So keep trying. Thanks again. Congratulations, Brian, and thanks everybody for participating.
Absolutely. And thank goodness he's from Texas, so that just by giving his name out, we're not doxing him. There's probably lots of Brian Wards in Texas. So it's a big place.
Probably is. Yep.
All right, Chris. Hey, should we do an episode?
It is that time of year again. This episode is the time of year when people start getting reminders. The fraudsters start coming out. The folks that are exploiting people with predatory tactics start showing up. Your registration renewal is coming up. And that means that everybody's starting to talk about the 2290. And suddenly every truck driver is asking the same question. Do I actually have to file this thing? And today we're going to break down everything you need to know about the heavy vehicle use tax, what it is, who has to pay it, how much it costs, when it's due. One important thing with this is we're going to talk about the mistakes that carriers do that get them into trouble. It's crazy how one simple tax form can create so many headaches, can leave your truck parked. So if you've ever wondered why you're paying this tax every year and why you have to file it, when you have to do it, this episode's for you. I'm Chris. This is my 7th year owning a trucking company and hosting the Haulin Assets podcast. When I first started, I thought I knew trucking. Turns out I had no idea how much I would learn. Welcome back to Haulin Assets 2.0, where I take you through the good and the bad, the ups and the downs of being an owner-operator.
Indeed. Welcome, everybody. Officially now, welcome to episode 201 of the Haulin Assets podcast. It is essentially, the title could be what is Form 2290? What do you need to know about it? All right, Chris, first of all, I have to say, this is classic Haulin Assets, and I'm really looking forward to this episode. Here's why. We'll do some episodes that are kind of, maybe they're broad, maybe they're a little esoteric or whatever. This is one of those incredibly practical bits of knowledge, of expertise. One of those things that everybody needs to know, that there's a lot of confusion about. So it's one of those like, well, you're talking about Form 2290. Ooh, sexy episode. Well, no, but it is incredibly useful. So I hope people enjoy it. But yeah, let's get into it. I wanted to mention the elephant in the room, which is that neither elephant is in the room, meaning that we're not together. Chris, you're out on the East Coast. We normally we're recording in Utah. You're out doing some training or whatnot in friggin' the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. So I've had a really big life change. I just barely have announced this on social media. So if you haven't been following social media, you probably have no idea what's going on. But as most of you know, if you've been a long time listener, I'm in the Army National Guard, and I got an opportunity that came up a few months ago to attend the Army's War College. So I'm kind of taking a sabbatical for most of my life. I'm still doing a little bit with Haulin Assets, I'm going to keep doing the podcast and some of my social media posts, but everything else is kind of getting, for the most part, put off to the side. And I'm spending the next 10, 11 months in Carlisle, Pennsylvania at the Army's War College, going through that. It's a really cool opportunity for me, especially in my civilian career. It opens some doors, but it's also, it's an educational experience where there's going to be a lot of stuff that I feel like translates into my civilian career as well. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, of all the things that didn't get put on the back burner, it was the podcast, because Chris, you are nothing if not a slave to your devoted listeners, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So Form 2290, let's get into it. This is, like I was kind of saying before, this may not be the sexiest topic in the world. Of course, when we're talking about trucking, what are the sexy topics? It's replacing tires, fuel cost. Ooh, yeah. Tell me more. No, but this is an incredibly important episode. It's similar to ones that we do about insurance or taxes or something like that, where it's like, this is the stuff that's going to help you sink or swim, right? So, Chris, what is Form 2290?
So Form 2290 is the form that you use to pay your heavy vehicle use tax. So the official name is heavy vehicle use tax, but it's the 2290 form. You hear it called that a lot. And if you operate a heavy motor vehicle, you probably have to pay it. We're going to kind of go through some of the, who, what, where, when, why, all that important information with it. The money, one of the good things about this one, nobody likes paying taxes. But this specific tax goes into the Highway Trust Fund, which the money is then used to pay for highway maintenance, bridge repairs, road improvements, transportation infrastructure, all those things that we as truck drivers that are on the road all the time care about. So at least the money is going something that benefits us as truck drivers.
There you go. And it makes a ton of sense too. I can't remember if I ever told you this. I have a brother who's a structural engineer. When he was getting his master's degree, they did a whole unit on concrete and the strength of roads and all this, how to design roads. And he told me something I'll never forget. And he said, when we calculate the wear and tear on a road and how much maintenance it's going to have to go through, he said, you can line up all of the personal vehicles you want, every single one of them, the biggest, Ford F-350, that, giant jacked up trucks. Said they don't even count. We don't talk about them. We don't think about them. There's only one thing that we care about, and that's those 18-wheelers going down the road and what they're loaded down with and how much they weigh, because that's what is going to break up a road. Your Camry ain't going to do it, right? So yeah. It's your fault, and that's why you have to pay, truckers.
It is, and as much as I hate, paying taxes, this one makes sense because it is. Like, we're the ones that cause road damage, that wear roads out more than anybody else. So we should pay a little bit more, and as long as that money is truly getting used to make the roads better for us, like it's hard to complain too much about.
Fair enough. Your libertarian kind of goes dormant for a little while. Your internal libertarian. All right, Chris. So the question here is that's why it exists. That's what it is. Who has to pay it? Is it everybody listening to this? How do we break this down?
Not everybody. The biggest thing that really determines whether you have to pay this is if you've got a taxable gross weight of 55,000 pounds or more. Now, notice I said gross weight. So that means the total weight of your truck, the total weight of your trailer, and the weight of your load. So and that's really what you register your truck weight up to. So if your truck has a registration weight of 55,000 pounds or more, you're going to have to pay it to some extent. And that amount that you owe is prorated based on the weight of the truck. So that first, 55,000 pound truck is about $100 a year. And then when you get all the way up to 75,000 pound or more, and most of us, obviously, if you're driving a semi, it's typically 80,000 pounds. That's $550 a year per truck.
Okay. So it's $550 a year. It's not this isn't a bank breaker, but it's also not nothing, especially if you have more than one truck. This is it becomes a significant line item the more you grow, right? With that said, you said 75,000 pounds is the maximum taxable weight, right? So anything above that, you're not dealing with it. The scale doesn't keep going past that.
It doesn't keep going. No. Okay, after 75,000, everything's 550.
Right.
You just have to keep in mind the thing that makes this somewhat complicated is you have to, calculate the amount you owe based on kind of two different factors. One, what the weight of the truck is, and then two, how long during the year you owe it. So one thing that's really weird about this tax, and I'm not 100% sure why they do this, but the tax period for it doesn't run a calendar year. It doesn't run based on the government's fiscal year. It runs from July 1st of one year all the way through June 30th of the next year. So it follows this completely different taxable timeline. And, that kind of makes it confusing because if if it's a truck that you've had for a full year, pretty easy, $550. But, let's say you buy a truck in the beginning of January. You don't have to pay the full year's worth. It's prorated for January, February, March, April, May, June. So 6 months. And the same thing happens. It's, if you only have that truck in service for May, June, you only pay 2 months. And you owe it. If you put the truck into service in May, you have to have it paid by the end of the following month, June. So May 1st, you owe the tax by the 30th of June. You put it into service May 31st, you owe the tax, yes?
July.
No,
1st.
The 31st of June. It's just,
sure, sorry.
The end of the following month.
Chris, you can understand why people would start glazing over and getting confused. And this is all very, this is where bureaucracies get a bad name, right? It's like, can you just simplify this for me? No, answer is no.
Yeah. Again, they make it complicated. It follows a completely different schedule. It's prorated based on when in the year the truck goes into service. And then it's also based on weight. So, it's not crazy complicated, but it's not simple either.
It's complicated in the first year of service, but then after that, the regular deadline, because it's July 1st through June 30th as the normal taxable year, then August 31st is the filing deadline after that first year of service, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So that part is a little simpler. Wouldn't it be nice if it were, say, let's pick another day that it could be, say, April 15th. Wouldn't that be nice if everything would,
So if you're listening to the podcast today and you haven't filed your 2290, it's due pretty dang quick.
Okay.
You got a little over a week to get it taken care of.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's see. Chris, you mentioned at the top of the episode that you wanted to get into some common mistakes, and I wanted to get into that next. Now that we know what it is, when to file it, how much it's going to cost, this is still an area that you say trips some companies and some owner-operators up. So tell me a little more about it. What are the common mistakes here?
So the first common mistake that I want to talk about is waiting till the last minute to file it. If you're waiting till the last minute, the last day it's due or the last few days that it's due, sometimes the IRS systems bogs down and it causes problems. Or if you're using a third-party filer and everybody tries to do it on the very last day, things fall through the cracks. Just don't wait till the last day. Get it filed sooner rather.
Okay. All right. Number 2 then.
Number 2 is it's kind of crazy. It's a wrong VIN. A lot of times you've got to write the VIN down or type the VIN into the form. If you miss it by one digit or one number, the IRS is going to accept it because they don't know. Where you're going to run into a problem is when you go and register your truck, get your plates renewed, your tags renewed, and the state registration folks look at it and they're like, oh, this VIN doesn't match the VIN that you're registering the truck for. You don't have proof that it's paid. And that causes a whole bunch of trouble trying to amend it and getting that fee that you already paid. tied to the correct vehicle. You just don't want to go through that double, triple check that VIN number.
Right. Okay. So simple enough. Just be very, very careful with the VIN as you're putting that in. Okay. So mistake number 3.
The third common mistake is putting the wrong weight category on the form. The weight categories are letter combinations. And if you put the wrong letter combination and you've rated it as a 70,000 pound truck instead of a 75 or 80,000 pound truck, that's going to cause you problems.
Okay, fair enough. All right, mistake number 4 then.
And this happens way more than you would think. In fact, I've actually made this mistake before. You forget to pay the $2,290 on a newly purchased truck. So if you go to purchase a truck, and a lot of the times, a lot of states will allow you to register a newly purchased truck without showing proof of the $2,290 because you've got this grace period to file it. If that's the situation, you can do that. But then when you go to file it the next year and that truck's already been registered, the IRS is going to figure that out. They're going to ding you, penalize you. Don't do that. Just don't forget to file it when you purchase every new truck that you purchase.
Right. And this would be one of those, depending on the size of your fleet, Chris, you're up to 10 trucks, but let's say somebody's got 100, they've got 1,000, they're getting up to that 10,000 number, whatever. At a certain point, get yourself a dang checklist. Onboarding a new truck is a lot like onboarding a new employee, right? And it's like, have that checklist of here are the things you need to do. And that's for owner operators as well. If you're thinking about making that leap and becoming an owner operator, then the hope is that this podcast is helping you build that checklist. Don't forget things like this.
I do that. I have a checklist for when I register a new truck, and that file, the 2290, the heavy vehicle use tax, is on that checklist.
There you go. All right. So don't forget to file for your the 2290 for your new truck. But then the other mistake I know is for your existing trucks, right? The trucks that have to be the form has to be filed before you go to registration, right? And that's number 5.
Yeah, and this causes a lot of problems. If you don't file, you can't register your truck. So when you go to renew your license, if you haven't filed your 2290, here's what I see happen way too often. You don't file your 2290. You go to renew your registration. You submit your packet to the state to renew your plates, and it goes into a line and to a file. That may sit there for like 1 or 2 weeks before they get a chance to review it. They go and review it. Everything looks good. Oh, except I haven't filed my 2290. And then they like go and contact you, say you haven't filed the 2290, and you're like, okay, fine. You go file it, which filing the 2290 doesn't typically take too long. But then you put that back in your registration packet, and guess what? It goes all the way back to the end of the state's line. And at this point, you may be right at the deadline of your plates, and now all of a sudden you're back at the end of the line again, and they may not get to your stuff until after your plates have expired. It just causes all kinds of problems. So make sure you pay your 2290 well before you go and have to renew the registration on your trucks.
This is why I could never be an owner operator, Chris. You guys are so organized, or at least you should be. Right? But it requires this the checklist approach, right? You've got to have that dialed in and be organized, and don't put things off. Do not wait until that deadline, because, like you were saying before, it's going to cause you a lot of problems. So we've kind of hit on this question already, but it was my next question, which is, what happens if you don't file? Now, we talked about like, okay, now you got to make up for it, and as you go to the back of the line and all that stuff. This is what you're talking about with making your truck sit. But what happens if you just don't file it?
If you don't file, or you file late, like this is one of the things that guaranteed the IRS is going to penalize you for it. If you file a day after it was due, they're gonna hit you with a penalty, and they're going to hit you with interest, guaranteed. So those are the two things that are going to happen every time. The other thing that, we've kind of, like you said, we already hit on is that registration that can cause you to get your truck so they can't drive legally. You don't have legal registration, can cause downtime, other things. So you just want to make sure that you're doing that. You do it on time. You get it taken care of. You avoid those penalties, fees, and possible downtime.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. So, gosh, Chris, I'm impressed. We really ripped through this topic. So up to now, any points that we've skimmed over, or that you want to provide any more context to, or do you feel like we've kind of covered this ground? You want to move on?
I feel like we've got it.
Okay. All right.
The only thing that I would say is, we've talked about it. It's not a crazy complicated process, but you want to make sure you get it right. You want to make sure you get it done on time. And guess what? This is one of the things that Motor Carrier HQ can help you out with. I know we don't plug Motor Carrier HQ a ton, but this is one situation where I'm going to, because we make it quick, we make it easy, we make sure it's done right. We'll get you that copy of the Schedule 1 that you need to be able to show your registration folks that you've actually paid it. And if a mistake's made or anything's done, we'll take care of it, make sure everything gets squared away and you don't have any kind of headache. So give Motor Carrier HQ a call. Be happy to help you out with this.
You're stealing my thunder here, Chris. This is doing the commercial stuff. I actually put off my housekeeping till now so that I could do it at the right time. And I can't believe you just jumped in there and you took my job. You took it.
I'm sorry, Craig.
So you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'll remind everybody to go to, first of all, HaulinAssetsLLC.com for full show notes. And again, motorcarrierhq.com. All right. So motorcarrierhq.com. That's what Chris is talking about. This is the one, if you're a longtime listener, you'll know my standard riff. Motorcarrierhq.com is where you go to find the tools, the tips, and the people you need to make the leap from employee driver to owner operator. And this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's not a, how should I put it? There are some worthless consultants in every industry out there, Chris. Motor Carrier HQ, not one of them. There's actual real help, tangible assistance that you get with things like this. So motorcarrierhq.com for that help with this and so much more with your around your needs. So let's see. The other thing I was going to mention in housekeeping, of course, we've got go give us a review on iTunes and go interact on Instagram and Facebook. And I know we're not giving anything away this week, but you should still say nice things about us. That would be great. So, Chris, I'll leave that there. So I guess ultimately, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I love this stuff. This is classic. This is classic Haulin Assets content for me because it clears up, hopefully, any confusion that somebody had around Form 2290.
Absolutely. I hope it helps out. Thanks for listening. Share the podcast with other folks and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And I would just leave you with stay safe, stay compliant, keep learning, and always, as always, we'll catch you on the next episode of Haulin Assets.
Anything interesting from the last week or month of living in a van down by the river?
Oh, I can talk about my flood.
Ooh, okay. This sounds like you're reaching a certain age and you're starting to have to wear special underpants. And you had something that you've nicknamed my flood. It happens every time I stand up too fast.
I don't need to get that personal with everybody.
All right. What was the flood?
So, as you know, so I decided when I came out to Carlisle to the War College, there's several different living options. I could live on base. I could bring my family out. I could not bring my family out. I decided, I've got two girls that one's starting high school this year, one's starting her senior year. We decided not to bring the family out. So I'm here by myself. So I thought, I've got a motorhome. Why pay rent to somebody else when I can just, keep my expenses a little bit low and live in my motorhome? So drove the motorhome out. I'm living in my motorhome. I like to joke around. I'm living every guy's dream, living in the van down by the river. Well, a few days after I got here, maybe about a week after I first got here, I was literally living in a van, not just down by the river, but essentially in the river. Even though there's not really a river here. So what ends up happening, a day or two after I get here, one of my neighbors says, hey, just so you know, when it rains here, the spot that you're in, like me and probably two other spots on either side of me, are in like the flood zone of the RV park. Like all the water from the entire RV park like drains to where we are. And I'm thinking, okay, so you get a little bit of a stream running down. Well, they warned me and they said, you want to park your car instead of front of your motorhome, park it behind the motorhome, or it gets pretty high. I'm like, okay, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. So anyway, the first, a week or so later, it starts to rain, and then it starts to rain really, really hard. And I'm from Utah, so we don't get a ton of rain in Utah, and I'm shocked at how much it rains here. But this one was really hard, and it was raining hard for probably about 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm in doing some schoolwork and working on things. I'm like, oh, I probably ought to go like move my car. So I go out to go move my car, and the water is literally almost up to the bottom step of the motorhome. And I'm like, oh crap. Like I step into it and it's, a good 3/4 of the way up my shin to my knees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh crap. So I go and open my car door, and it's literally like an inch or two away from going inside of my car. And I'm like, crap. So luckily Teslas are actually very good cars in water. You can go look at some videos on YouTube. It's kind of funny where you see people like driving their Teslas with water in the cabin.
Oh,
luckily
geez.
I didn't get that much water in it, but it got up really high and I was able to just drive it out and get away. But I was like the front end of my motorhome was literally in a river. Like it was crazy how much water there was. I've got a video of it, me going to get my car and drive it out. So I'll have to post that on social media. So keep your eye open for that. It's kind of funny.
That'll be awesome. Well, Chris, we had an episode, we had a prologue, and we had an epilogue. How's that? This is the most epic episode we've ever done. All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Here's
Thanks, Chris. I'll see you next time.
See you, Craig.